She's mighty, just letting it all hang out. She's a great house. I like Lady Stack, that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Oh, she's a
Apples to Apples is back, brand new, and broadcasting once again on the Alive and Social Network. I am coming to you from the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, and in the Alive and Social Network studios, we are extremely proud to have Coors Light sponsor the Apples to Apples show. Thank you, Coors Light, for sponsoring Apples to Apples, and definitely thank you for being the official sponsor of The Orchard. It is time now to go out to Washington, D.C., in a small studio at Georgetown University, and the one and only, and I hope not crabby, Drew Applebaum. Take it away, Drew. I hate that opening. Drew?
You're getting better. It at least sounds natural now.
Does it? I need oxygen. What's the deal today? What's up?
It used to just be awkward.
Excuse me?
I said it used to be awkward, but you've learned. You're learning.
What episode was awkward?
The first one you had to do. That's what I'm saying. You got better.
Oh, so I'm getting better. That's cool. We have once again a huge show. You want to know
they're all huge.
I know
they're all just as important as the last.
It's kind of crazy. So, on today's show, we have the. Wow. Right off the bat, breaking news. Drew, I don't even know if you know this, but we've been promising or threatening this for weeks. Apples to Apples is officially going on the road. And
about time.
Not only that, I actually have places, dates, and times. You ready for the first one? The very... go ahead.
Can't wait.
Well, was that sarcastic?
No, it wasn't sarcastic at all.
So not only are we going on the road, but you will be making your live return to the Apples to Apples show. So the very first stop on the Apples to Apples live tour will be at the Trail Stop Tavern, Eagan, Minnesota, formerly Saga, I believe, December 21st. 4:30 to 5:30, live and in color, and very possibly a special guest or two. Thoughts?
Or two.
Thoughts?
Wow.
That's really going to get the Orchard excited. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
There were rumors
of
a second one, though.
There is a second one. The second one, or the second stop. Now, I don't think we're going to have one in between, but they're working on a third right now. But the second stop on the Apples to Apples live tour, kind of an invasion as we call it, will be January 12th, time to be determined at the Boulevard, which is on Southview Boulevard. I believe it's between South St. Paul and West St. Paul. I don't know the official, but we'll have more details on that later. So there's the first two. I know St. Thomas is trying to put a bid together to be part of the Apples to Apples tour. We will have at that tour, we will have our T-shirts available if you ask a question, hopefully some special guests. The Orchard, we want the Orchard to come out, of course, and participate live, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that you said St. Thomas is trying to put a bid together, and I was going to interrupt, but I figured I'd wait. I was going to say that clearly there's some competition here, and they need to put together a good bid because we don't just hand these shows out. But honestly, we probably should. We should. Maybe this is something me and you should talk about off air, but we probably should just go anywhere that'll take us because I can't imagine a lot of places really want us there.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if you've checked our numbers.
Yeah, but then they got to deal with us.
Well, you mean you and I? They want the show, but they don't want us. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's my point. They got to deal with us.
Because
there's a serious cost-benefit analysis there.
Right now, we are the highest-rated father-son podcast on Mondays at 2:30. So,
and Mondays at 3:30, depending on where you are.
True. Or Hawaii, I believe it's at like 11 in the morning or 10.
It's a much more accessible time in Hawaii. It's right on your lunch break. It's really nice.
So there's breaking news right off the bat. Unbelievable. So now, as I was saying, on today's show, wow, I don't know if we're going to get this show done. Jackie, Jackie, the real boss here at the Alive and Social Network.
I know Jackie.
Just handed me another note, a second note. Next Monday, I don't have the date, but next Monday, we will be making a huge announcement.
Next Monday is the 23rd.
So November 23rd, the Monday before Thanksgiving, which is going to be a tradition on our show. The Monday before Thanksgiving, we are always going to break this news. We will tell everybody the lucky 12. I don't know if they're models, but we've mentioned our swimsuit calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Next Monday, we will have the 12 names of the individuals gracing each month in our swimsuit. First edition, first Apples to Apples swimsuit calendar. And we will also have the lucky 13th member who will grace the cover of the very first Apples to Apples swimsuit. Thoughts?
I've seen an early draft of the list of those lucky enough to make the cut. And it's going to be a hot item, is all I'm going to say. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it's they're going to be flying off the shelves. I know the T-shirts were popular. I think these calendars are going to take it to the next level.
I agree. We will also have the date of the release of that calendar. So next Monday, tune in. Live would be better, but if you have to tune in later, then clearly you can get that information. I think we got to start the show. Well, let's quickly go over what's on the show, and then we better start before we have any more breaking news. But those are two huge items right off the bat. Today, we will talk our normal, local, and some national sports banter. We will, then we'll go apple picking, the segment we used to call listener questions. So we'll go apple picking, and in that apple picking, got a lot of good questions, and we also have the answers to our poll question, which was favorite sports nickname. I have a call out. I don't know if you do, but we will have our call outs. And other than that, do you have any housekeeping, Drew?
I don't think I do. I really don't think I do. I think everything seems to be in order.
Okay. Well, before we start, we do have to thank the millions and millions, or actually thousands and thousands of our faithful Orchard members for listening. Our numbers are rapidly escalating, as they say. So we need to thank everyone for following us on Facebook and twerking out to their friends and twerking at us and all that good stuff. We really we appreciate it. And when we go on other shows, the Orchard seems to follow us too. So
yeah, I think that's what I want. That's what I would like to thank them for. I know I haven't gotten a chance to be on any other shows. I'm only a lot upset about it.
Yeah, you can tell.
But that's pretty cool when you get to go to other shows and they still listen. And it honestly, it just gives them a chance to listen to some of the other shows and some of the other just phenomenal shows on this network that deserve to be listened to.
That's right. The Alive and Social Network is on fire. All right, so it is time. Speaking of on fire, let's go visit and I cannot believe after 9 games I'm saying this, the first
10 weeks and 9 games.
What's that?
I said it's been 9 games, 10 weeks. I never thought you'd be saying this because I know what you're going to say.
Well, you interrupted me. I couldn't even say it.
I know. I'm just because I'm such in disbelief.
Do you want to say it?
No. Go ahead.
All right. Let's start all over. Speaking of on fire, let's go visit the first place. It is so weird. The first place weird. Minnesota Vikings. Thoughts?
I don't. Where do you start? Do you just
the coach
sit back and be happy that after 10 weeks and 9 games they're 7-2? They're the second best team in the NFC right now by record. They're at the top of our division. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you sit back and you just enjoy it while we can, or if we should even talk about. We sit here every week and honestly, we nitpick. We pick out the little things. I mean, they've been winning. Obviously, they've won 5 straight games, and every week we came on and we said something. There was something bad, and we talked about it and whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's time to just enjoy it and talk about the good. I don't know. I think that would probably make for a boring show, but.
Well, that is true. We have to be a little negative, otherwise it would be boring. Well, let's start with the coach. I think, and we've talked about this, I think he's a phenomenal coach. Let's start there.
He's found a formula that works, and it's an obvious one, obviously. I mean, everyone he's obvious twice there. But, I mean.
Is it obvious?
You hand the ball to the one of the greatest running backs in the league, and honestly, one of the greatest running backs of all time. And you put together a solid defense, and you don't need to throw the ball 30 times.
Well, let's start with the defense. Or no, we can't start with the defense because we started with the coach. Let's go to the defense.
I was going to say, you started with the coach. The defense then comes second.
For those people that joined late, though, they wouldn't have known the difference.
No. That's all. It's also fitting because I think we have the second-ranked scoring defense.
Can I back up? For those people joining late, why are they joining late?
Maybe they were busy. People, I understand this is important to us and all, but people have other things going on in their lives.
First of all, you're wrong.
Class, etc.
This is not important to me. We are providing a service to the orchard.
Did you just say the show isn't important to you?
Well, I guess it came out the wrong way.
You should choose your words better from now on.
Yeah, that was bad. Can we start all over? Wyatt, let's just scrap this.
You started with, should we hit Brickhouse again?
But then the problem, we'll put Brickhouse back on, but then the problem is it's not really breaking news, so we'll just edit that part out. No, it means I was just kidding. But let's get back to the Vikings. So solid defense isn't even the word. They have not given up. I think they're the only team that has given up less than 23 points each and every week. And they're playing with injuries.
A lot of injuries. A lot, not a lot, but enough. Some key ones, I guess I should say. You get a guy like Terrence Newman, who we signed almost. I mean, obviously we signed him to play.
He's a grandfather of 4, by the way.
Exactly. His dude's 37 years old, and did he have a great career throughout his life? Of course, but he's 37 years old. We basically signed him to basically mentor Waynes and Rhodes and all these other guys, and he's out there intercepting Derek Carr, who under the radar has had a phenomenal season twice in a huge key game on the road. One play that completely basically cemented the win with that interception in the end zone at the end. A phenomenal play.
Yeah, because then 10 seconds later, we had an 80-yard run to the house.
The next play, we handed to Peterson. He was, as Paul Allen likes to say, he was loose. 80 yards to the end zone.
So
I mean, you get the other. And then you look at a guy like Linval Joseph, who has never really. I mean, he's just never. He was on the Giants, I think, when they won the Super Bowl. But he's played a lot, but he's never been like the guy.
I think he's
having a phenomenal season.
I think I heard him say that he's never been 7-2 before. Yesterday,
he was on the Giants when they won the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure.
Well, maybe they were never 7-2. Weren't they like a wild card?
They may not have ever been.
Yeah, they were like 8-8 or something. Yeah, it's so you start with the defense. Now, Teddy,
I will say the one play I want to talk about for 15 seconds is that play where Carr he kind of got hit. I don't even remember by who. Probably I think it was Danielle Hunter or someone like that.
It might have been
Danielle
Joseph.
Hunter. I can call him Danielle. He might not like that, but he got kind of hit and he kind of fell down. He his elbow was down, but they didn't calm down. And as soon as he got back up, Joseph just came out of nowhere and just swallowed him whole. I was watch it. He absolutely drilled him.
Right.
It was just a huge hit. It really, in the grand scheme of things, didn't really matter because he was down anyways, and we could have challenged it, whatever. But it was just kind of a cool play by a guy who deserves to get some attention that he hasn't really gotten. Now that we're successful, he should get it.
Well, the play of that particular game, we don't always just dwell on one game, but the play that turned that game around has to be the kick return by Cordell. Cordero. Well, you can pronounce it however you want.
That's a guy who, it's a shame he never became more, but he's making a difference every way he can.
It's only his second year, by the way.
I know. I think he had like a 11-yard rush the one time they gave him the ball
Right.
too. I think pretty early in the game. Might have even been the first drive. They had a goofy first drive. Couple
Yeah, it
goofy
was.
plays.
Well,
They had two different wide receivers run the ball, including Thielen. But
and
they
then
went
threw
right
to the
down the
tight
field,
end.
scored. They're finding ways to win. I
So-
think this was arguably their best complete game.
So let's talk
From-
about
from
Teddy.
Drive one to the end of the game. This was. There are very few things I can look at this game and say that went wrong, that was bad, that they needed to do something better. I know Teddy didn't light the stat sheet on fire, but he didn't throw the ball. Would he throw the ball 20 times?
Well, here's the thing. Now I've been a little tough on Teddy, but if you're going to have a solid defense, and Adrian Peterson is going to be the beast that he should be, and you got talented wide receivers, Teddy doesn't have to be the best player. He just can't screw up.
I mean, if you look at, Carr threw 40-some passes for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Their average per attempt was different by half a yard.
Right.
Teddy only threw for a half a yard less per attempt. He didn't throw any interceptions. And Teddy was under pressure all game. They really did get to him. He was stacked 4 times, I think.
Yeah,
A
but
higher quarterback rating. I'm not saying Teddy had the game of his life, but he should have had 2 touchdowns.
right. Well,
Kyle
that was
Rudolph
a huge
didn't
play.
absolutely just drop
Right.
the most wide open pass in the history of football in the
And
end
you know
zone.
what? At the time, that was a huge play because
That could have cost us. And
We were-
luckily, the defense buckled down. It didn't, but
we were temporarily down a point, which we would have still had the lead with that when that kick. That was huge, and we can't. I don't think we have room for error. We have the guys like that, plays like that. In order to keep going, you have to make those plays. Now we overcame it in that game, but no, I think the offensive talent, is certainly as good as it's been in a while. I think as long as Teddy's just steady Teddy. Teddy's just not a real masculine name for a quarterback, but it is what it is. But he's a lovable little guy. So
either is I don't know. I guess Tom is pretty bland.
Tom? How about
Tom, like Tom Brady.
How about Buck? Starting at quarterback, Buck Bridgewater. I don't know where I came up with that, but
I don't either.
thoughts?
There's no one named Buck.
Buck Rock and
in
Roll
the NFL.
Zoomoff. Oh, in the NFL.
Actually, that's a lie. It's a long story. I know. It's the backup in Baltimore, Javorius Allen or whatever, changed his name to Buck this year. I had him on my
He
fantasy
did?
team for a while because Forsett was maybe hurt. Whatever, doesn't matter. His name's Buck.
No, it doesn't matter because no one cares about your stupid
I
fantasy team.
wanted to correct myself. I wanted to get the facts out there.
Okay, where were we?
Before we move on, I know we're not moving on quite yet, but we haven't really been on Adrian Peterson. I think we both, a couple weeks ago at least for sure, wanted to see just a little more consistency. There's too many negative plays.
Right.
Seems like he's dancing a little too much.
He hurt
and,
us.
I don't know about that. One of our listeners, a James called Jimmy Smith,
Oh, Jimmy Smith Jr. I'm familiar.
he got on us for it. And
He did?
and, deservingly so. Peterson had a good year, but I know I just wanted to see more consistency, more, not 20 yards and negative 10 yards. I wanted to see 10 and 10.
Well, I
you know
think
what I'm
I
saying?
even mentioned maybe trading him, but that's because he had
He
value.
did mention trading him, and he asked this week, was he worthy of our praise today? Are we still not convinced? And I wouldn't say I was ever not convinced.
Let's back up a little, James Smith Jr. Yeah, we were impressed, but I mean, 80 yards of his 203 were that one play at the end. I mean, I think we
Yeah, but
could have won without him. However, I'm glad we have him, and I think as long as he doesn't fumble, he's certainly going to be another big piece to our puzzle.
Yeah, and his last 4 games, maybe you could go back, have by far been his best game. I guess he had 1 or 2. He had a game or 2 right at the beginning of the season
Right.
that were really good, but he had 203 this week. I mean, he averages almost 6 yards a carry in November. You
Right.
know, and if
Unfortunately,
you go back the last couple weeks, it has been by far his best games, and it's because it's less runs. He's attacking the holes harder. He's not dancing as much as at the beginning of the year where he looked a little hesitant.
And honestly, go ahead, continue.
Well, I was just gonna say
You were starting to ramble.
I know a couple weeks ago, and I'll own it. I said that he didn't look the same as he has in the past, but
He did.
he's back to it.
Well, here's what I was
He
going
can
to
do
say.
this. I don't know if anyone can stop him.
He's the only one that can stop him. himself. But here's the other
Oh, yeah.
point of this: you got Teddy, who's got a little bit of talent here. You got some incredible wide receivers. You got Wallace. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Johnson. You got Wright. You've got a couple good tight ends, although one of them dropped the ball. I mean, you've got other weapons that they do have to worry about now a little bit more than before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all that as a whole now, and we can't talk. We have a huge show, so I'm begging you not to ramble. But clearly, the biggest game in a long time in Minnesota Viking, the last several seasons, is Sunday. That doesn't mean the end of the season, but at home, a team that is just getting beat up, they're fighting with each other.
Yep.
Rodgers is this. If there was ever a time to step on their throats, so to speak, it's Sunday. Thoughts?
And listen, the Broncos are a good team. The Panthers are a good team. The two teams they lost before us, but then they went and they lost to the Lions, who I have not won in Lambeau in my lifetime. That is the first time that's ever happened while I was living.
Right.
That's incredible. And they went and did it, and now they have to come to the bank with the Vikings have all this momentum. Listen, you can never count out the Packers. You can never count out Rodgers. But like you said, if there was ever a time, it might be now.
The only thing probably that the wild.
What
Wild? Well, we'll get. To
I don't know where you came up with that.
I don't either.
That was strange.
That is strange. I apologize. But anyways, the only thing that the Timberwolves. No, I mean the only thing that the Vikings might. The Gophers might. The only thing that the only thing the Vikings actually might have going against them is that they're not really catching like Green Bay. Like Green Bay is down and out, and they're at rock bottom, and they're upset, and so they've got a lot more to play for. If Green Bay was coming in with the lead, or off of just a 50-point win, might kind of catch them off guard. So the Packers are well aware of the situation, and there'll be no letdown, so to speak. But we can. I think if you go talent by talent, except for quarterback. Clay Matthews is obviously very good. I don't know if you can tell me, other than those two guys, who's better on their team than ours.
But I know quarterback. You only have one quarterback.
It's a big part.
But if you look at especially when you look at linebackers, like core, like our linebacking core versus theirs, our defensive whole line as a whole versus theirs, we may have more talent. I mean, we just don't have a Rodgers, but we have Peterson. And that's their offense is built around Rodgers throwing for 300, 350 yards a game. Ours is built off Peterson rushing for 150, 200 yards if he can. We just give him the ball, run the clock out. Don't let Rodgers have it.
Right.
The Oakland is not comparable to Green Bay. I understand that, but it's a high volume passing offense with not a great defense, and the Packers defense has not been playing well. And I know Detroit only scored 18 points, but Detroit is terrible. But, it's like you said, it is in recent memory the most important game. I think, what was that year we had to beat the Packers in week 17 to make the playoffs?
Which we did.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but then we lost to them the next week.
Well, we lost them the following week. But that game is the only one in recent memory you can really compare the stakes to.
Well, hopefully next week, after we announce our huge swimsuit calendar, we will be talking about another Vikings victory, another first place.
I think, and I don't want to, and I
can you think quickly
because
we got lots to get to.
Here's what I'm thinking: we're 7-2. You got to assume 10 wins is a for sure lock in the playoffs.
Right.
That gives us 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4 at home, 2 against not so great teams to just win 3 games.
Right.
And so I think if we can beat the Packers at home next week, now knock on wood because I don't want to jinx us, I think that almost locks us a spot in the playoffs. Assuming we don't absolutely fall apart and choke down the stretch, which, God knowing the Vikings, we might.
Right.
But the Seahawks aren't what they used to be. The Bears have been playing better, but they're still the Bears. We have them at home. We have the Giants at home.
Let's reel her in.
And then I know the Falcons, Cardinals, and Packers are good teams, but
bring it home.
That's all I got. We just got 3 wins. We need to go below 500.
And he's not bringing
3
it
and 4 down the stretch, and we're in the playoffs. It's doable, and it's crazy to think. If you would have told me, I think you would agree. If you would have told us week 1 that come week 10 the Vikings are 7-2, top the NFC North, we would have laughed in your face and moved on.
Well, that's the show
But
for
here
this
we
week. Oh wait, you're still going? Okay, go ahead.
I'm done. I said no. That's what I said. I said I'm done.
Okay. Did you put a bow on the Vikings? So let's move on. And thanks for that insightful insight. Doesn't make any sense, but anyway, insightful insight.
Well, that's yeah.
I screwed
I think
up
you
there.
know what you did there.
I know what I did
So
there.
I won't call you out for it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's move on. And we're going to do a combo Wild Timberwolves together because, as we've talked about, they're both very, very long seasons. And
well, yeah,
they're both kind of
they're
go ahead.
No, you were starting.
No, you go.
I thought that's what you were saying. I was just going to say they're moving in opposite directions. Timberwolves haven't won since we last talked, and I think the Wild have moved into second place in the division.
Right. The Wild have got just some weird, I don't know, we won't get too far into it. Again, if you really want to listen to a lot of Wild talk. I know I saw The Good Father over the week, and he wants us to talk more Wild, and I do promise we will talk more Wild as it gets, closer. But Wild Wednesdays on Wednesdays here right on the Alive and Social
It's
Network.
on Wednesdays. It's weird.
It's weird.
They planned that with the
I don't
name.
know if the name came first or I don't know how that works. Like, do you think?
Who knows?
Do you think they said you're going to do this?
Probably know.
Would it have been Wild Tuesdays? Probably not.
It just doesn't. It's not the same.
Anyways, so Wild Wednesdays, and then of course, right after us, our parent show, the Sports Ticket with K&K.
Parent Club. K&K.
Yeah, I made that up for them. K&K. They talk lots of Wild too, as Kevin and Kendall are both involved with the Wild.
Yeah,
so
you're gonna get a lot better insight.
But on the Wild note,
two.
looks like Parisi, depending when you're listening to this, may or may not be back. They're playing pretty well without him. We've got this weird thing where they're calling guys up at left, and this guy's called up, and this guy's sent down. It's just very strange to follow.
They got some holes to fill, and they don't know how to do it. They're trying whatever they can to do it, and it's goofy.
On the bright side, they're doing well. Now let's talk. And
I think it's their best start through this many games ever.
Yeah, no, I think it is.
Whatever. But
so I'm gonna.
You can't fault them. Dubnik's playing better too, on top of everything.
Yeah, he's had the last couple of games have been very good. I'm gonna ask you nicely. In fact, I'm gonna plead with you. Let's be brief on the Timberwolves, okay? Now, brief means
we have some questions on the Timberwolves, so we can definitely be brief.
Oh,
we'll
do?
get to them a little bit more later.
So should we just skip it? Let's skip the Timberwolves. If we have questions, there's no reason to talk about them now.
We got like 1 or 2 on the Timberwolves.
Right.
Not a ton, but we'll probably get to whatever we were going to talk about anyways. So.
All right, let's go. Let's stop by the University of Minnesota.
Head on down to Claysville.
Excuse me?
So do you want to head on down to Claysville?
Let's briefly go to Claysville because once again, I guess the news since we were last on is, as we sort of unfortunately predicted, he is the new head coach of the Gophers. I'm not very excited about it, but it
was almost inevitable.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think
they're.
Everyone saw that coming.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say. I think there are a few people that were surprised.
So they go to the number 5 team in the country, Iowa, and they actually could have probably. I mean, I'm not saying they could have won, but they were in the game and had their chances. And again, I think it's what we're going to get. They're just not going to suck. It doesn't mean they're going to win a lot of games, but they're just not going to suck, and maybe that's good enough. I don't personally think so, but
it's like, I don't know. Here's my in the last three weeks, they've played Iowa, Ohio State, and Michigan, and they've been at least competitive in all 3 games. 2 of them they had the chance to win. 2 of them on the road.
Right.
And at some point, you got to, and I know there was some other losses we had that were bad losses, but these 3, sometimes you got to step back and say, you know what? Those are just 3 football teams that are better than our football team. And that's sometimes it's all boils down to. Those are 3 top 20 football teams, 2 top 5 football teams. They're just better, and sometimes that's all. They're just
well,
simple as that.
Unfortunately, with the Gophers, I think we're going to say that a lot. They're just better, but that's about.
So
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I was listening to, I can't remember exactly what, but one of our colleagues.
Excuse me.
I don't know. I like being able to say that.
We have colleagues.
we would call them that. I don't think the people we would call colleagues.
Who else
like
do you know
us
that
would call them colleagues.
that hosts a Small Potatoes father son podcast? Those would be colleagues.
Fellow members of the media.
Oh,
Can I say that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyways,
not accurate.
He just said
cool.
he had a good point that especially in in the Big Ten, it's always Ohio State and Michigan, and then after that it's just which teams got the breaks that year. Last year the Gophers got a lot of the breaks, and that's why we succeeded. This year Iowa's gotten a lot of the breaks. They have snuck away with some close games.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna get to Iowa a little bit later too. Actually,
we are. But, okay, well then let's if we got a question on that, we've got a lot of apple picking today, so I want to try to move you along. Before we leave Claysville, which right next door to Claysville is the actual University of Minnesota. How about my Gopher volleyball team? And they are my team. I'm going to look them up
right now. Go ahead and start talking about
them.
See what's going
you
on.
Gave us that they were number 1 in the country last week. I believe they were really, by some polls, and I believe you, this one rare time. But they were also, other polls had them 3 and Penn State number 1. Over the weekend, my Minnesota Gopher volleyball team swept Penn State at the Pavilion in front of thousands and thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to believe we're number 1 this week.
I'm looking right now. I want to make sure I get the poll that didn't have us as 1 last year or last week.
Try to do that.
Well, I looked this up. I would like to share a short anecdote with the Orchard, which may explain your fascination with the volleyball team.
When you say short, whose short are we talking about?
I'm going to keep this yours short.
Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong anywhere through the story.
Oh, and I will.
You when you played junior college baseball, correct?
Correct, but we're talking volleyball.
Right. So you then transferred to the University of Minnesota after doing so.
Correct.
And you thought that would count as your gym credit, correct?
Well, it did at the time, yes. Oh, I know where you're going with this.
But then it turned out it did not count, and you were then stuck having to take one single gym credit, correct?
It was time to graduate, and as you do when you graduate, you get all your stuff together, and I was one gym credit short. Yes, that is correct.
Right. And there was only one class that had openings, correct?
Power volleyball, Saturday mornings, 2 hours.
I just think there's a serious connection there.
Well, I'll be honest.
I don't think we can realistically say that there's not a connection there.
No,
there has to be.
There's probably some truth to it because I did walk in there and was by far the shortest person there. One of the only guys.
Oh, yeah.
The girls all had their fingers taped and knee pads on. And
knee pads. I
was the setter, and I felt like
I'm
that was their little brother.
I'm surprised they didn't make it the libero.
I don't even know if they had that back then. Plus, I was Jewish, not Italian, so I couldn't really be that.
Is libero Italian? I believe you. My Italian's a little rusty.
What is the point?
Maybe we'll get on the show.
Did you look this up? We've gone way too far already. Do you think?
They're 3. Penn State dropped to 4.
Okay. So, anyways,
USC, Washington, us, Penn State.
Right,
we did get 7 first place votes.
I've got one very quick Twins thing, and then we're gonna have to go apple picking.
Yep. We have a question about the Twins too.
Okay. Well, this is just a thought I thought about on the way. I'm pretty sure that Terry Ryan at some point wanted to be a center fielder in his life and got cut because it just seems to me that every time we get a center fielder that's decent, he ships them off. We got Spahn was great, gone. Revere then took over for him, was good, gone. Hicks, after spending 3 years of watching him strike out 1,000 times, finally has a good year. Okay, time for you to go too.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Ship you off as well. It's a solid theory. We have some breaking news.
We do?
Yes. First off, I've come to that
weird.
Breaking news sounds more like you hit a jackpot on a slot machine than actual breaking news music, for the record, I think.
Well, I'm striking the record.
Anyways, our breaking news, our much more important breaking news.
Okay, let's have it.
Straight out of the ESPN studios.
What?
They have
I'm leaving?
ESPN. What?
I'm going to ESPN? No.
God, no. Calm down.
Oh.
ESPN.
Because I'd bring Wyatt with me, not you, I can tell you that.
I can't fault you for that. I'd take Wyatt with me too.
Okay.
I think it'd be silly not to.
All right, go ahead.
ESPN has taken back the 2014 and 2015 Best Female Athlete Award and the 2015 Best Fighter Award from Ronda Rousey after her loss this weekend.
Wow. That's harsh.
They are now held by the same person that holds the 2005 Heisman Trophy and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, that person being absolutely nobody.
Oh, you mean that they're actually physically holding it? I thought you meant like they gave it. Oh, I see what you're saying. So when they strip, well, you got to the Gopher.
It's sitting in a trophy case somewhere.
The Gopher basketball team had a couple seasons that never happened.
There were some seasons that just were lost to
They didn't happen.
history.
Well, that's interesting. So a couple bad kicks to the mouth and you're done, I guess.
I was one bad kick and a couple absolute straight right hands. Did you see it?
No, I can't watch it, to be honest with you.
Savage. I didn't watch the fight. First of all, I'm not paying $60 to watch a fight that might only last 8 seconds. But she got absolutely
listen, we have to
cracked in the mouth, and she just went down, and then Holmes just hit her like twice in the face, and ref called it off. It was the craziest thing I was honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Okay,
I know there's these knockouts in this all the time, but to see Ronda Rousey get knocked out like that was kind of crazy.
So we need to go apple picking, but I do have one thing to say. Now, she clearly had some stitches and things, so I'm not suggesting it's fake. But the second she needed to sort of finally lose once.
It's got WWE.
It's got a little shenanigans written all over it. And again, I'm not a little far away from my mic there.
I'm not a boxing, and neither of us are a boxing or anything like aficionado or anything.
No, we just play one on the podcast.
In any of those individual sports, the WWE, boxing, MMA, all that stuff, you need a rivalry to be interested. Right. The only thing that's relevant in boxing lately has been Mayweather and Pacquiao because it was a rivalry.
Right.
You know, you look at the WWE, no one cares about the guys who just go out there and fight whoever.
Well, and
it's all about rivalries. And it was kind of like, well, it's like Ali and Frazier. Like, that's what made boxing interesting, not just Ali or Frazier being good. And Ronda Rousey kind of needed like her foil.
I agree.
And
you
she
know
finally
what?
got it, and we'll see what happens.
Right before we move on, it's kind of like this show because I think people tune in every week to find out if you're finally going to be right about something, and kind of the foil type thing. I think you're onto something or on something. I don't know which it is. You really shouldn't be on something till the 21st till you're legal, but that's a whole other issue. So, speaking of on something, Coors Light. See what I did there?
You've had some good segues in the show.
I know I have. It's almost like I've done this like 16 times before.
Yeah,
but speaking of on something, Coors Light proudly brings to us the Brandly. That does not make sense. The brand new segment it's actually not a new segment. It's an old segment, but it's the brand new name. We are going to go apple picking now, Drew. You ready?
I am. And I have the first question.
Go for it.
It's not really a question. It's more of a statement from our good friend Jimmy Smith.
Oh, okay.
He asked if and I'll tell the short version of the story. I promise.
I really highly doubt that.
So you can answer on it. He says, I wonder if Drew could comment on this atrocity on the show next week. Thanks in advance with a link to an article. The article is about here at Georgetown. Some of the student athletes decided to put tape over the Nike logos on their shoes in protest of Nike's labor procedures or conditions.
Are those procedures new? I mean, I feel like this Nike.
No, they are not, and that was one thing I was going to say.
Oh,
I don't know. I get it. It's a good cause. I respect the effort and wanting to do something, but here was my thing. Like you said,
you're not done. I thought you were going to give us the short version. Okay,
that's the end of the story. But I have to comment on it. I can't just tell the story. He asked me to comment. No one knew what I was going to comment on, so I just held that, and now. Here's my thing.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while. They were still wearing the shoes as well as some of the other Nike apparel they receive for free. Many of these students, their scholarships are paid in part by Nike. And so I just think it was a good cause. Very not quite well thought out enough. The response.
Are you telling your response? It wasn't well thought out.
I'm trying to be careful here. I really am.
Oh, okay.
I really am.
All right. Well, that was fascinating.
They should have just not worn the shoes.
Yeah,
And
I
they still
agree with
wore
you.
the shoes
Right.
and just taped over the Nike and still wore the other stuff. And we're protesting Nike, who helps put some of them through college.
Can
Like,
I
Nike
say?
puts money towards scholarships.
Can I just say something?
Of course.
And then we need to move on. You know, a lot of times for all you protesters out there, this is a public service announcement from Apples to Apples, okay? For all you protesters out there that really want to, like, I wouldn't have known about the stupid students wearing the Nikes until you told us that you wore Nikes, and just don't say a word. And like you said, don't wear them, and we'd never know about them. But by doing this, you're actually giving Nike or any cause out there where you continually do stuff like this free pub, and
That's what I'm saying. They still
it's
wore
stupid. Yeah.
the shoes.
All right, that's enough of
Seems
that.
slightly hypocritical.
Thanks, Jimmy Smith.
It's a good cause, worth maybe speaking out again.
All right.
Not
Let's
quite the right
let's
way to
pick
do it.
another apple. Let's go.
Graham O'Malley
All right.
asks, "Is the NBA?" Oh, Jimmy Smith Jr. also. He has his favorite athlete nickname was Mr. October for Reggie Jackson.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Graham O'Malley asks, "Is the NBA Steph Curry's league? His favorite nickname is Dwayne The Rock Johnson."
Well, Steph Curry shoots 3-pointers like layups.
He's. I'm gonna check. The last time I checked, he was shooting 48% from three on the season, which is absolutely insane.
It's right now. Listen, Michael Jordan was the greatest player ever, but I don't know if he even. What's going on in this? Now, this is 10 or 12 games into the season, so let's not.
Down to 44%, unfortunately. On
What
the season
he's
for
doing
Steph.
in these 12 games has never been seen before by any player.
Incredible.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to keep it up. I'm not saying he's the greatest player ever, but this is just bizarre.
It is. And what Graham's saying about it being Steph Curry's league
It is right
has
now.
some. It is. When you read something about the NBA, it's not about LeBron. It's not about Kobe. It's not about the Spurs. It's not about Durant. It's not about Westbrook. It's always about Curry so
Well,
far this season because he's
let's
so
take it a step
incredibly
further.
impressive.
They're 12-0. They don't even have their coach. They got Bill Walton's son.
Little Walton.
Yeah, little Walton's coaching him. It's Steph Curry's league. Good question, Graham. All right, next.
45% from three,
Actually,
52% from the field, 33 points a game. It's his league right now. He just can't do wrong. Can't do anything wrong.
I just got a text. It's not breaking news, but the Coach K. Remember Coach K?
Yes, I do remember Coach K.
He's chimed in. Best nickname: Houston Cougars. Phi Slamma Jamma with Clyde.
I do like that one.
Clyde the
actually.
Glide.
That was one of the ones I was going to say.
And then
Because
offshoot.
no one had said it.
And then an offshoot: Clyde the Glide and Akeem the Dream. And then Spud Webb, Slam Dunk Champ.
I think some of those ones are mentioned too. Those are all good ones.
Okay.
I do like Phi Slamma Jamma though.
All right, go ahead.
Jack Rowe asks, "Who do you think the most dominant player in NFL history?" His favorite nicknames are George Herman, Babe Ruth, and William the Refrigerator Perry, which I am a huge fan of, and I think that one's funny.
The most dominant player currently, or
in NFL
history?
Most dominant player.
Well, probably before a lot of our Lawrence Taylor was pretty dominant back in the day.
Wasn't he the guy that snapped Theismann's leg?
He did.
Dominant.
Barry Sanders was pretty dominant in his day as far as.
You may have to include like Ray Lewis in that conversation now.
Well, see, when you say dominant, I guess defense instantly comes to mind. But I mean, a guy like Barry Sanders was just very elusive. That's a hard one. There's so many. I would say Lawrence Taylor, maybe Ray Lewis, although he towards the end.
I think Ray Lewis, just because of, like you said, the defense aspect,
Right.
he just crushed some people. I mean, as a middle linebacker, dominant is,
But I mean,
kind of what comes to mind with dominant.
But even quarterbacks like Brett Favre in his day, you just couldn't touch it. Yeah, that's a tough question. Yeah. All right, good.
You got even guys like J.J. Watt.
Well, currently,
everything.
J.J. Watt's on such a bad team, but the last couple of years he's dominant. I mean, he was probably the best. He's probably still is the best player in the NFL.
Guys like Reggie White.
Right.
Warren Sapp was phenomenal when he was in his prime. Dominant, a guy that big, that was that good and that quick. There's a lot. NFL is a sport where dominant can mean a lot of things.
I'll tell you what,
lends itself to a good conversation.
in his day, Randy Moss was pretty dominant.
Absolutely, you couldn't guard him
In his prime.
Guard him.
Prime
Couldn't cover
time.
him.
All right, well, great question. Thought-provoking. Next.
Matthew Johns just wants to let us know what he likes, what nicknames he likes. He's a big fan of the '06 Twins, specifically Jason Bartlett, Punto, Tyner, and Castillo.
I
Piranhas.
know. The Piranhas, yeah. Ozzie Guillen named them the Piranhas.
Yeah, we can ironically thank Ozzy for that.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Matthew. And I owe Matthew a T-shirt. We'll have to get that out. Remember, ask a question, get a T-shirt. We got most of them out to the faithful listeners. They're
really comfortable T-shirts for whatever it's worth. They are really comfortable.
Yeah. Wyatt's shaking his head.
Yes or no?
Yes, he's agreeing. They're very comfortable.
Good. Riley Miller wants to know if the Packers will be able to bounce back next week against the Vikings. He also likes Hakeem the Dream.
Well, first of all, Riley Miller, that sounds like a new Orchard member. Or maybe not a new Orchard member, but a new apple picker.
A new apple from the tree. I don't know. We're not quite
Can I
there
see
yet.
why do we care if the Packers can bounce back? I'm assuming Riley's a Packer
He might
fan.
care.
Well, I think we sort of touched on it. If I strictly answer his question, I think the Packers could bounce back because I think they are – the last thing they want is the Vikings to be in first. They are about as low as it gets. They're all mad. Now, 3 weeks ago they were undefeated and going to win everything, and now everyone says they're done. I think they've got a lot of motivation. So, yes, they absolutely could bounce back.
Yep.
I'm not saying they will. And listen, Rodgers could go completely off, and the Vikings are,
and that's it.
The Vikings are due for a bad game, maybe, or maybe they won't. I guess the answer is yes. I felt like you for a second.
They will. Honestly, they probably will. I hope they don't, because I'd like to win and crush the Packers and go up two games in the North with a game on the 8. But they probably will. It's the Packers.
Welcome, Riley, to the Orchard.
Ray Christie's back.
We missed Ray.
Sorry for his absences. He was on a missionary trip in Mecca.
Wow. See, the Orchard's well versed. He was in Mecca. That's very good.
We're doing things. We're doing good things everywhere.
That's nice. Well, welcome back from Mecca, Ray.
His favorite sports nickname, pretty poignant. We were just talking about him, is Chef Curry. I like Chef Curry.
Yeah, that's
Chef Curry actually came from a Drake song.
Of course.
Going back to Drake. Or Johnny Football. You gotta love Johnny Football. That is a good one, especially when he was in college. He threw for like 350 yards this week. That was crazy.
Did you see when he got face masked? When they literally his head almost got taken off.
That was vicious.
That's about
that
as
guy
bad as I've seen.
Fined. I don't know if he was, but
he probably will be.
Anyways, his thoughts on the Cadet State Championship loss to St. Michael Albertville, and will we see a different coaching staff next year? First off, I want to congratulate
definitely
the Cadets on one heck of a season. Getting to the state championship is not something to just dismiss. I know you didn't win, and the goal is always to win, but getting there is an accomplishment within itself. I didn't get the chance to see the game, but I've heard that it was great competition. The other team is a very good team, and St. Thomas fought until the end. I just want to give all the players and coaches a big congratulations on that season.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. You got to experience it twice, but not that far. So
they got farther than. It's been a long time since someone's made it to the final.
Well,
in all seriousness,
okay. Well, and part of that game, a certain left tackle who we've talked about before made the block of the year. I don't know. You didn't see it. There was a little screen pass, and it was just incredible. He was.
We were on him all year. He heard us.
He heard us.
Came to play.
The block of the year. All you guys go back and watch it. I'm sure everyone watched it live. He just absolutely. It was the funniest thing ever. He was just destroying this guy, and finally, he let up, and the guy kind of slammed him to the ground, and then kind of started walking to the side because he thought the play was over. And as he was turning towards the one side, the guy with the ball was running behind him down the sideline. It was so kudos to that certain left tackle. We're proud of you. But as far as the coaching staff goes, that's inside information. Every year they say they're going to be done. I think this coaching staff will be there until they're ready to go. And I would think if he wasn't going to be there, they would have said something by now, but who knows? So welcome back, Ray.
Quinn Dolan wants to know, if Iowa wins out, will they make the college football playoff? His favorite nickname is Dr. J, Julius Irving.
Dr. J, that's...
If we're assuming wins out also means they win the Big Ten championship game against Ohio State or
Right.
whoever they play, then I would say yes. If winning out just means winning the regular season, maybe not.
I think they're going to have to be... they'll have to be undefeated for sure.
I agree.
And being undefeated would mean that they beat someone like Ohio State, which would be their one really good victory. You know, only beating Minnesota by 5 over the weekend did not do them any good. But they're on
like
the
I
out.
said, they've snuck. They've snuck into being undefeated. I mean, they beat Pittsburgh by a field goal. They only beat Wisconsin by 4. They only beat Illinois by a couple.
Well, but
They barely beat Indiana only by a touchdown. I mean, they're kind of sneaking away with some of these games. They only beat us by 5, and they got Purdue and Nebraska to finish. So you assume they win those two.
If the top 4 teams win out, Iowa might be on the outside looking in. They might only have one big victory on there.
Yeah. No, I agree. And especially they're going to have to play Ohio State, you would assume, in the Big Ten championship, and that's probably going to be a game for a spot in the playoffs.
Listen, Ohio State might lose to Michigan their last game. And
there's so many different things that can happen in college football with teams losing in the conference championship games. There's so many things to consider every week that it's hard to say. But I think I can confidently say if they win out, including the Big Ten championship game, they're in the playoff.
Did we even answer his question?
The undefeated champion of the Big Ten has to be in the playoff.
Okay. Yep, we'll see how it plays out. Logically, you'd think they would be, but who knows?
Sam Applebaum, no relation.
Yep, no relation.
Wants to know our thoughts on the longer extra points this season with many kickers missing them. Lions almost lost because of them. LOL.
Yeah, they missed 2.
Best nickname is the Boogeyman, Stone Cold, the Hebrew Hammer, which is Ryan Braun, or the White Mamba, Brian Scalabrine. The Boogeyman is his real name, so I don't think we can count that one.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by nickname. You know, so when they changed the extra point, I thought it was stupid. Part of me still thinks it's stupid, but it's actually coming into play. I mean,
it's making a difference.
Detroit's kicker missed 2 extra points yesterday.
My only thing that I thought was strange about it, and I honestly, when they came out this and everybody crunched the numbers, the historical numbers said it wasn't going to make as much difference as it has. But I thought it was strange that in a league so consumed with safety and not letting say that they're basically adding a very high intensity play. I mean, extra points, the defense used to just stand there, and now that they have to really kick a field goal, not just kind of just chip shot it in. People are going all out for this, and I don't think anybody's really gotten hurt yet, but I just thought that was strange. And it has made a difference. You can't deny it, and I thought it wasn't going to, but here we are, week 10, and it has.
No, I know. It is making a difference. I guess it's what they wanted. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of, the same guys missing extra points are kicking 55-yard field goals, so it's kind of a weird.
Makes no sense.
No. All right.
I mean, not them moving the extra points back.
No, I know.
Guys,
it's like
the Blair Walsh thing. He makes a 55-yard, and he misses like an extra point next week. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree.
Okay. Anthony. I'm assuming his last name is Owens because his Twitter handle's Owens Anthony. Maybe his name's Owens Anthony. I don't know.
He's a new chimer in.
That's why I stumbled on it a little bit. I haven't seen it before.
Welcome, Anthony.
He asks if the Panthers have a legit shot at going far in the playoffs and maybe winning the Super Bowl. His favorite nickname is Super Cam. I'm going to go back at him, and my favorite nickname for Cam is Scam.
Scam.
I think you'd have to take them as a legitimate contender at this point.
Well, very likely, unless they stumble, home field advantage. And I think anytime you have home field advantage, you got a shot.
It's a phenomenal defense with between Kuechly and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a total blank. Who I was gonna say, Josh Norman. This corner they have has had an absolutely phenomenal season. He's got like 4 picks already on the season, which is already more than doubled his career total. Cam Newton's having the season of a lifetime.
Right. He's
finally learned how to run the ball and throw the ball and scramble and throw the ball. He's finally kind of putting it all together, and he is just a freak. There was when they were on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago, they were talking and they compared his stats and not stats, his measurables to other people. It was something like he's as tall as J.J. Watt. He's faster than Le'Veon Bell. He can jump higher than AJ Green. It was crazy. All these, I don't remember exactly what they all were, but you have to take them as a legitimate contender.
Yeah,
now.
I think so,
9-0, and they don't look like they're slowing down.
My gut tells me they're not going to get there, but I think they're a contender, if that's the question.
Oh yeah, and I think they're a real legitimate contender. I don't know if I'd pick them as my favorite right now, but you cannot just overlook them as like, oh, it's a fluke, you know?
Right.
I guess that's how I feel about it.
All right, well, if that's how you feel about it, I'll stand behind you.
That's how I feel.
Okay. Do you feel strongly?
I feel okay.
No, I meant about the issue, not personally.
I feel okay about the Panthers.
Okay.
I don't have anything
Go ahead.
against them. Cam seems to have cleaned up his act. The representative wants to know what our thoughts on the Minneapolis North player eye gouges.
Oh, I watched that. You probably didn't see this.
I saw the video. I didn't.
Wyatt
see it live,
saw it
honestly.
too. That was crazy.
Tom, weren't they down like 2 touchdowns too?
Yeah, well, they weren't used to losing. That coach was out of control, and then the coach. I saw some stuff where he was blaming the other team for being cheap. They must have had 3 or 4 personal fouls, and he left those guys on the field.
Wasn't their first time in a state any Minneapolis public school their first time in a state championship game? It was a big deal, and then they went out and I don't know.
Not to belittle their accomplishments, but they played
nobody
nobody all year. They were at the lowest, one of the lower levels, and that was terrible. That was terrible. That was. He's lucky. He's lucky. The kid really didn't get hurt.
Lucky the season's over too, probably. Like he's lucky. He might. Who knows if someone had gotten a hold of that? They might. I don't know if the MSHSL could suspend him or anything. But
shockingly, the North coach doesn't condone eye gouging. Is there? We might have to bring the pet peeve segment back. We don't condone.
We can do a whole show on pet peeve.
Yeah, because he doesn't condone eye gouging.
I'd hope
Jeff Fisher doesn't condone late hits. Honestly, like the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones doesn't condone domestic abuse. Oh, really? I figured you'd be all for it. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I have nothing to add to that. It's exactly what I was thinking.
I forgot my call out, by the way. Should I do it right now quickly? I won't even.
No, because I know who it is and it's coming up. Don't worry.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
the representative would also like to know what month at Apple Sue will be on the calendar.
Well, I know he's a big fan of Apple Sue. The committee, Jackie's in charge of it. I don't know if females will be on this edition. I guess we're going to have to wait and see come Monday.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen a preview of the list, and I don't want to let out any spoilers.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't want the representative to be, get his hopes too high.
No, well, and he's got issues as it is. So
yeah, because his next tweet is his favorite nickname is OJ Lady Killer Simpson.
Of course, of course,
he got all the babes. He said
the representative. He is. He's out there. Well.
He's something.
I don't condone what he just said, by the way, just so you know.
No, we do not condone the representative's actions.
No, I do
not condone the representative's actions.
Those thoughts are thoughts of the representative himself.
A troubled
and
man.
Not a reflection of the Apples to Apples show or the Alive and Social Network.
We might have to put a disclaimer at the start of this show.
Right.
Like when you watch a TV show and everything.
Right. All right, now we're doing what I said we shouldn't do, is bringing more attention to it. Let's just move on.
Seamus Harvey.
Oh, welcome, Seamus. We were worried about him.
He says, "Sorry for my absences recently. I was with my good friend Ray on his trip to Mecca.
Oh,
met some quality fellas there.
So Seamus seems like he's at peace. Okay.
Can't wait to be on the live show and answer questions I've missed or any new ones. Let the good times roll and the pizza turn."
Well, we will have a live edition of As
Spirits, which is exciting.
Yeah, he sounds very good. Well, we will have a live edition of As the Pizza Turns on our first live show, which we announced earlier today, December 21st. We'll have more details next week. All right, go ahead. I know we're running.
This gets to your call out.
Really? Okay.
Do the Wolves need Rubio to play well? His favorite nicknames are the Mailman, Pistol Pete, and the Iron Horse.
Well, my call out was Ricky Rubio. I am sick and tired of him getting hurt. It's just, it's
they haven't
ridiculous.
They've lost 16 straight games without him. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're better with them, but I mean, geez, it's just
It doesn't seem like it though when we have him.
Well,
but clearly he is. Well, and he does his role is very it's not flashy.
By the way, P.S. define better. I mean, we're bad with everybody, so it doesn't really matter.
Listen, they don't need him to play well. They just need him to play. They need someone to take the ball out of Zach LaVine's hands and make sure Andre Miller doesn't step foot on the court.
Right.
That's what they need Rubio for.
Yeah.
They don't need Rubio to score 15 points. They need him to just be a point guard.
I guess
they need him to beat Ricky Rubio and just play.
Technically, they need him, yes.
Technically, they do. They just need him. They don't need him to play well necessarily. They just need him.
Anything else?
Like questions-wise or about Rubio?
No, we're done with Rubio. I'm sick of it.
Okay. Brett Zobel.
New caller?
Wants to ask.
New asker?
What is causing the Packers' losing streak? His favorite nickname is Megatron. I actually really like Megatron, too.
Can I just go back to the representative for a second?
Sure.
I just got a note from Jackie.
Uh-huh.
The calendar edition, the Apple to Apples calendar edition. She said that think of it as Adam's apple to Adam's apple. That's just a clue on who's going to be in the calendar. Go ahead.
I don't get it.
Okay, you don't get it.
Nope.
Adam's apple. Do men?
I know what an Adam's apple is.
Okay, men have them. Women don't.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You said something about the represent. Oh,
what is it? Does it got to snow before you get the drift?
I forgot what he said about. Got it. We're on the same page now.
All right, I'm
Anyways,
sorry.
Packers
yeah, we got to get going.
Packers losing streak. What's causing it? What's the problem?
Again, who cares? But I would say, well, I never thought they were that good. I mean, they had one guy for sure on offense and one guy in defense, and I think as we talked about, if you take it away, and now there's some infighting, and then the coach is going to call the plays again, and it's just they were never that good. Until the Vikings stepped up, our division was horrible, so they always got by. There's a lot of really bad teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
Not to belittle what the Vikings are doing. That's not even what I'm insinuating. So I just think it's, and I think the Packers are, with the quarterback as good as Aaron Rodgers, they're still going to have their day. So I mean, they're still going. In my opinion, they'll still be in the mix.
I think Rodgers has carried them the last few years. I think it's clear. Eddie Lacy had a good season last year, but definitely this year. And sometimes you run out of luck. I mean,
no,
it's not like they've been in the Super Bowl the last 3 years or anything, like you said. They lost to the 49ers 2 straight years, and once in the first round, once in the divisional round, and then lost to the Seahawks last year in the NFC Championship, and then choked that one away.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
This is way too much Packers talk.
I don't. We got to do it. We made a deal at the beginning of the show that we would answer questions.
Okay.
We kind of brought this upon ourselves.
All right. Do we have anything else? We've only got like a few short minutes left of this.
We got one more.
Okay.
From the doctor.
Oh, the doctor is back. Who actually took, by the way, his nickname sort of came from his favorite player, Dr. J, but I don't want to rat him out. But go ahead.
One would think it would be Muhammad Ali with the greatest nickname, since his nickname was the greatest of all time. But here are my favorites. Randy, the Big Unit Johnson. Charles, the Round Mound of Rebound Barkley.
Okay.
And my favorite Timberwolf of all time, Jerome Pooh Richardson.
All right.
With Daryl Chocolate Thunder Dawkins getting honorable mention.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. The Muhammad Ali thing, that really wasn't a nickname, though. He sort of changed his name. But go ahead.
No, he meant like how his nickname was the greatest of all time.
Oh,
like
I see. Okay.
Not Muhammad Ali being the nickname.
Got it. Yep, got it. Okay.
His question is if the Twins could spend $12.5 million to get the rights to sign someone from Japan, plus however million more to sign him, why not just go get a top-notch free agent with that $20 to $30 million? Maybe it's not actually $12.5 million with the exchange rate. He's right. It's not actually $12.5 million. It's $12.85 million. And he's South Korean, not Japanese.
You know what? I can't even believe I'm saying this. He's got an unbelievable point.
Well, we did say that exactly like last week.
Oh, wait. I guess we had an unbelievable point that he just repeated. Yeah, but it is. I mean, it is true. Why wouldn't you just go sign anyone?
Why would you risk this again after Nishioka went so well? Whatever.
Well,
we talked about it last week.
Spend $20 million on a good player, but they're out there. Well,
On a guy, we have like 3 of him.
anything you want
Like-
to add to this? I want to say earth-breaking, but a lot of stuff, a lot of breaking news.
Earth-shattering was the phrase you were looking for there.
Yeah, and that's not really. That's anything you want to add before we hit our music?
I'm trying to think if there are any like really good nicknames I liked that did not get mentioned. But did you have any that didn't quite make the cut?
No, I think anything I could think of would be.
I don't know. I mean, how about Prime Time and Ocho Cinco? I think the Chad Johnson literally changed his name.
Yeah, to Ocho
So I guess
Cinco.
that's kind of cheating, but like, come on, Ocho Cinco was pretty phenomenal.
I think the moral of the story is any superstar, any good player does have a nickname.
Oh yeah, any like really great player has got some sort of nickname.
Right.
You know, somewhere along the line he picked one up.
All
Even
right.
even Sanchez has one. That, you know what? That might be my favorite. I can't believe I'm saying this. Sanchez might be my favorite nickname of all time.
Yeah,
I think that is
I
hilarious.
can't either. Well, Drew, that was once again a huge and news-breaking edition.
They're all huge.
First of all, not
They're just,
that.
you can't miss
Right.
one.
Orchard, you better tune in next week, Monday, 2:30 live. You don't want to hear about it. You want to hear it live. We will have the members of the first annual Two Apples calendars. So we will see everyone next week. Drew, I will talk to you later.
See you, Dad.
Bye-bye.